So say that you come up with a nice melody and some chords. Then what? Today we're going to look at how to arrange for keyboard, and I'm going to develop Lily's theme from Harry Potter from this to Your first step will be to come up with a chord sequence of around 4 bars. Your second step will be to come up with a melody that goes with your chords. Play your chords in root position, something like this. Your third step will be to invert some of your chords. I only have 2 different chords. I got the D minor and the B flat. And I decided to invert my B flat to first inversion so that I only have to change 1 note when I go from the D minor to the B flat. Together with the melody, it sounds like this. So these steps should be fairly familiar to you. But now we're going to have a look at something new called voicing. Voicing is how you spread out your chord on the keyboard. You do not have to play a D minor chord with the notes close together like this. You can put the D down here. You can have the F there and then have an A up here, which will sound very different. You can also double notes. For example, I can have a D here, I can have a D there, and then I can put the F and the A like that. You can also delete notes. If you have a D minor chord, or any chord for that sake, you can always delete the 5th, which is the A in the D minor chord. So this is still a D minor chord. I have a D, another D, and then the F spread out like this. And you can hear that's quite a different sound. For Lily's theme, I would like this to be quite dark, so I want it as far down on the keyboard as possible. If you put notes very close together at the bottom of the keyboard, it sounds very muffled like this. So that's generally not a good idea unless you want that effect. I decided to spread out my chord like this, D and then the A, because a 5th down here on the keyboard sounds quite nice, and then I'm putting the F here. So you play around with your chords until you find something that really works for you. This is what my example sounds like together with the melody. So your next step is quite easy really. You use the chord that you just came up with and then you create a pattern for it. I will create something like and then you just copy this pattern to the other chords. In my example, together with the melody, it sounds like this. So now I would like you to edit your chord pattern slightly. There are 3 things to look out for. One is that you're ever so welcome to add other notes, for example passing notes, to your chords. Then I would like you to play through your melody and your chord pattern slowly to check if there are any clashes, notes that don't sound good together. And thirdly, I would like you to use this general rule that if the melody is busy, allow for the chord pattern to do very little, and vice versa. If you have a long note, for example, in your melody, make sure that your chord pattern is quite busy. And here is my example. Your next step will be to add some chord notes to your melody. This will make it quite difficult to play. But know as a composer you don't need to be able to play your compositions, as long as someone can play it. If I add chord notes to every note of the melody, it sounds something like this. Which to me sounds a little bit too heavy, so use your good ear and pick the notes that you like. Together with my accompaniment, my example sounds like this. So you notice there are lots of little steps to make a professional arrangement. Your last step is quite easy but very important. Add all the extras. Your dynamics, your articulation, your phrasing, your pedaling and your tempo mark. And this is my final arrangement.